The cold had a way of seeping into everything that night, crawling through the cracks of the city and settling deep into the bones of anyone who had nowhere warm to go. In a nearly empty discount store on the edge of Cleveland, Ohio, a single mother stood clutching a thin blanket, her hands shaking not just from the freezing air but from fear. The closing announcement echoed through the aisles as fluorescent lights flickered overhead, and desperation weighed heavier than the winter coat on her shoulders. What she didn't know was that the man quietly restocking shelves nearby, dressed in a plain jacket and worn shoes, was the CEO of the entire company, walking these floors in secret to understand the lives his decisions touched. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion to change lives, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Stories like this remind us why humanity still matters. Rachel Thompson had not planned for life to unravel the way it did. At 32, she was raising her 5-year-old son, Noah, alone after an unexpected loss turned her world upside down. Medical bills, rent increases, and a job that barely paid enough had pushed her into survival mode. Every decision was calculated, every dollar stretched until it felt transparent. Winter had arrived early that year, harsh and unforgiving, and Noah's chronic respiratory condition meant the cold was more than uncomfortable, it was dangerous. The blankets at home were thin, worn from years of use, and not enough to keep him warm through the night. That was how Rachel ended up in the store minutes before closing, knowing she couldn't afford much but praying she could find one more layer of warmth. Across the aisle, Michael Anderson moved quietly, observing rather than working. At 48, the founder and CEO of the retail chain had built his empire from the ground up, but lately, numbers and reports felt hollow. Complaints about store closures and budget cuts flooded his inbox, yet none of them carried the weight of a human face. That was why he chose to go undercover, to see what the late hours looked like, to feel the consequences of policies made far away in glass offices. He noticed Rachel immediately, not because she was loud or disruptive, but because her exhaustion felt familiar. The way she checked prices repeatedly, the way she wrapped the blanket tighter around her arm as if it could already protect her child, told a story spreadsheets never could. As the store prepared to close, Rachel's panic intensified. The thought of walking back into the freezing night without what her son needed pressed on her chest until breathing felt difficult. She stood frozen near the register, weighing impossible choices. Food or warmth? Rent or medicine? Pride or survival? Her eyes landed briefly on Michael, assuming he was just another worker trying to get through his shift, unaware that her quiet plea reached him with the force of a confession. In that moment, Michael saw not a customer, but a mother standing at the edge of collapse, held upright only by love. The next morning, Rachel woke to the same worries she had fallen asleep with, unaware that something had shifted while she carried her burdens home. Michael had returned to his hotel unable to rest, her face replaying in his mind. Years earlier, his own mother had worked 2 jobs, often pretending not to be hungry so he could eat. He remembered the shame she carried, the silence of her sacrifices. By sunrise, he made decisions that would never appear in quarterly earnings calls but would alter lives in ways far more meaningful. Within days, Rachel received a call she almost ignored, assuming it was another bill collector. Instead, it was an invitation to return to the store, framed as a customer service follow-up. Confused but hopeful, she went, her heart pounding with cautious expectation. What she found was not punishment or embarrassment, but opportunity. The company offered her stable employment with benefits, flexible hours, and access to healthcare support for Noah. The store itself would no longer close early in that neighborhood, recognizing the community's needs rather than cutting it off. Before the story reaches its end, take a moment to comment below and share what this story made you feel or whether you've ever witnessed a moment of kindness that changed someone's life. Life didn't transform overnight, but warmth returned in small, steady ways. Noah slept through the night without coughing, wrapped in new blankets that no longer felt like luxuries. Rachel learned to breathe again, to plan beyond tomorrow. Michael, watching from a distance, found something he hadn't realized he'd lost, purpose grounded in people, not profit. His undercover journey reshaped company policies, turning numbers into names, statistics into stories. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that compassion still exists in unexpected places, please like, share, and engage with this video so it can reach someone who needs hope today. On a cold Ohio street, one mother's quiet desperation met one man's willingness to truly see, and in that intersection, lives changed. Sometimes, the world doesn't need grand gestures. Sometimes, it just needs someone to pause before closing the door and remember why it was opened in the first place.